Thank you for tuning into this special Truth Tea. Let's get to it. I'm going to honor the victims of the Buffalo massacre. I'm also going to be doing another video explaining why God allowed this to happen. But let's get to it. See, Biden said that the people who were slaughtered by this evil was very good people, vowing to make the community safer by advocating for stricter gun laws and criminal justice reform. This is from an article from ABC News. Mr. President, you are on the clock. First up, in no particular order, Ruth Whitfield. She was 86 years old, as you can see in the picture. That is her husband. She was returning home from visiting her husband in a nursing home when she stopped by Tops to pick up groceries. A daily ritual, her son says, of Garno Whitfield. She was in the store when the gunman opened fire that was among the 10 who died in the shooting. Garno Whitfield, a former Buffalo Fire Police chief, said. Garno described his mother's devotion to her family, especially her husband, whose health had been declining over the past 8 years. She was just there about every day, taking care of him, making sure he was well cared for by the staff, washing, ironing his clothes, and making sure he was dressed appropriately, making sure his nails were cut and clean shaved. He said all that every day. Even as her own health began to weaken, Ruth still tried to visit her husband each day, taking days off when she felt too debilitated to make the trip. After suffering a very difficult childhood when she became a mother, Ruth was all about family, and she rose above it, and she raised us in spite of that, being very poor. She raised us to be productive men and women. She also sang in the choir. Biden said, "Well done, thy good and faithful servant." Roberta Drury, 32, was regular at Tops. She was vibrant and outgoing woman who could talk to anyone, her sister says. She was born in Cicero, New York, about 150 miles east of Buffalo, and moved to the city in 2010 after her oldest brother, Christopher, received a bone marrow transplant to treat his leukemia. She helped run his restaurant, the Dalmatia, and care for his family. She was willing to help and laugh. Well done, thy good and faithful servant. Aaron Salter, 55. They say blue lives matter. We're going to get to that. But he was a retired Buffalo police officer. He was killed after confronting the gunman who entered the store wearing military fatigues, body armor, and a tactical helmet. Salter was working as a security guard and shot the assailant, Buffalo police commissioner said, but the bullets had no effect due to the bulletproof vest the suspect wore, and the gunman returned fire, striking Salter. But he was described as a true hero who undoubtedly saved more lives during the counter. See, some people don't think the bullets had any effect, but it allowed others to see that he was returning fire. He went down fighting. He came in and went towards the gunfire, and he went towards the fight, they said. One of the Tops employees, a mother of 7, told ABC that if it had not been for Salter, she and her 20-year-old daughter they were working at the register. They wouldn't have known the gunmen were headed in their direction. When they saw Salter pull out his weapon, they knew they had to run, and they both made it out alive, she said. She was beloved. Salter was a beloved employee of Tops several years after he retired from the police department. He took on the responsibility to protect the customers and employees in the store, they said, and he did exactly what he signed up for. During a Medal of Valerie ceremony on Wednesday, Biden commended Salter, saying the retired police officer and father gave his life trying to save others. Well done, thy good and faithful servant. Hayward Patterson, 67, he was a deacon, was shot while inside his truck in the parking lot of the supermarket. Pastor James Gill says. Patterson's family described him to the station as a loving person. He leaves behind a wife and daughter. Well done, thy good and faithful servant. Pearl Young, 77 years young. She's an Alabama native, spent final years of her life teaching children as a substitute teacher in the Buffalo School District and was heavily involved in church community, her sister, Mary, said. She loved her students and they loved her back. She was described as a beautiful, sweet woman. We're all in shock and disbelief, the family said. Young leaves behind 2 sons and a daughter. Young will described as a missionary who will be truly missed. Missionary Pearl Young was a worshiper and loved God. She loved her children, her family. She's a good Samaritan, Kojic church family. She was a true pillar of the community. Biden said she touched the apple of God's eye. Mr. President, you are on the clock, but well done, thy good and faithful servant. Geraldine Talley, 62, in her final moments, who came to Tops Family Market Saturday afternoon for a few items, sent her fiancé down an aisle to receive something off the shelf. Before they could reunite, an armed suspect entered the supermarket and opened fire. Her fiancé survived the mass. Talley's moments, her younger sister said, who was not in the store with the couple, I'm so angry, just devastated. This is hard for our family right now. Our sister, we had so many plans together, so many plans, and everything had just been stripped away from us. Our lives will definitely never be the same again. 2 years older, her best friend, we talked every day. Talley was one of the 9 siblings and was an amazing sister, mother, aunt. She was truly an amazing woman, and I'm going to miss her dearly. Talley's death had left her family destroyed. I'm hoping that we can all move on. Well done, thy good and faithful servant. Celestine Cheney, 65, of Buffalo, was a mother and grandmother of 6. She was shopping with her older sister, Joanne Daniels, when she was shot. She was a breast cancer survivor and survived aneurysms in her brain, and then she goes to Tops and gets shot. Cheney's son, Wayne James, told me, if people's moms are still around, just don't be too caught up in social media. The world to pick up the phone and talk to your mom or your dad. Well done, thy good and faithful servant. Catherine Massey, 72, of Buffalo. They called her Cat. That was my great-grandmother's name, Cat. She was a civil rights activist who worked tirelessly to improve Buffalo's black community. She wrote publications for the Buffalo Challenger and Buffalo Criterion, and she often wrote letters to the Buffalo News. She was unapologetic about making sure our community was not ignored. We lost a powerful voice, Gene Grant says, a former friend. Well done, thy good and faithful servant. Margus Morrison, 52, was a great father and wonderful person who was always willing to help his family. His stepdaughter, Cassandra Demps, said in a text message, Morrison is the soul that will always be missed. Well done, thy good and faithful servant. Andre McNeil, 53, of Auburn, New York. I had to go to another news article. He was going to the store to get his son a birthday cake. His fiancee Tracy says, I don't know how to say her last name, I'm not going to butcher it. It was their son's birthday. Today my baby was born, but today my soulmate was taken. How do I tell my son his daddy's not coming home? How do I, as a mother, make it okay? Some people tell me because I really don't know. Someone please tell me because I really don't know, she wrote. I say to Andre, well done, thy good and faithful servant. And to the people, I want you to be encouraged because God is going to explain why he allowed this to happen and so many others. I will put up this in a playlist and I'm going to explain why God allowed it and how this is going to help bring our country together. Because see, the issue with America, watch this, the problem with America is not black versus white. Many will say, yeah, but we have racism. The problem with America is right versus wrong. And that is the issue. But again, I'm going to explain this in the next video within the next upcoming days. Why God allowed this and how this situation is going to allow for effective change for all of our people. All walks of life is going to be because God has a word for his people. Yes, it's disheartening. Even those down in Uvalde, Texas, the Asian community, I think in California, God has a word. All of this. So as always, love y'all. God bless.